Hello, my name is Gonzalo Mercado Espinoza, and this is my final project, the club membership system. So this project helps a student club manage memberships. This came to me when we were talking about in my club a ship and how we always have new members and how do we find an easier way than just writing the name on the paper and their emails. So this was my idea. It came with it can register members, store them in Google Sheets, check whether a member is active or expired, renew memberships, update membership information, remove members, search members, list members, and generate reports. The project is organized into three layers. We have the interface here. We also have our engine right here and our storage handlers and storage layer. But the interface layer is what the user interacts with. In this project, I have a web interface. And the interface connects the user natural language request, sends it to the engine layer, and displays the entire response in a readable format. The interface does not directly talk to Gemini or the Google Sheets. For example, the engine layer, right here, let me pull down this. So the engine layer is where the system interprets what the user wants, validates the required fields, checks membership rules, and decides which storage function to call. For example, if the user says, let's say, renew John at example.com until June 6, 2027, the engine identifies that as a renewal request and checks that the date is valid and member exists, and also that storage layer to update the expiration date. The storage layer, let me pull it up right here. The storage layer is very persistent. It connects to the Google Sheets, saves new members, records, checks for duplicates, retrieves members, update fields, deletes members, and generates simple reports. The storage layer does not decide how to display the results to the user and does not contain UI logic. These layers work together very cleanly since they all kind of communicate to each other. So for example, the user enters a request into the interface passes the request to the engine validates and coordinates the actions, and then the storage layer reads or writes the data. Then the results go back up through the engine to the interface where it displays to the user right around here. This separation makes the project easier to maintain and it's very testable. For example, I can test that the engine without using the web page, or I can test the interface using mocked engine responses. So if we go through here, we can see how the engine works. The engine it can take in natural language club membership request, and we all have it right here. So let's actually test our program here. For example, let's do a sample register. Let's say we enter Alice Chen, and let's enter it. So this registers a new member. This request starts in the interface, and the engine extracts the member information and validates it, and storage layer saves the member to the Google Sheets. So here we see it tells you where everything is saved. We go to the Google Sheets. Everything is saved right here, expiration date, member ID, everything. So let's go back. And then now I can list the stored members. This shows that the data was saved and can be treated. So let's check it. Show me all registered members. Great. Now Alice Chen is right there. Okay, now the system checks. The system basically just checks out which members do we have. So now let's try status. Let's check the status of Alice. So now this system checks the membership expiration date and returns whether the membership is active or expired. So here is checking, do we have an Alice and is her membership valid? The engine goes through it, checks, and makes sure that it runs through everything and says, is Alice valid? There we go. Membership is active. This system checks the membership expiration date. So let's check, for example, our expired one. For here, we have John Doe. His membership expired, so let's send that over there. So this checks that expiration date is valid and checks whether it's active or expired. So here, we register him, and now let's check for his status. So John has an old expiration date. So the engine identified the membership as expired. So, well, how do we renew this? So if we have to renew it, we're gonna hit renew, and then we're gonna hit john@example.com, and let's renew it until the 2027-0601. Let's try that. So John has an expiration date, so the engine identified it was expired. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna renew it. There we go. It clearly shows you that it has been updated as expiration date. Did not change the start date, since we don't change that. So after renewal, the storage layer updates the expiration date, and then the status becomes active again. So let's try something else. Let's say we want to update John. So we're gonna do update, and we want to update John to let's update his major to major data science. Okay, let's update that. So this is updating the store information that's already in Google Sheets. So see, member updated. Let's check our Google Sheets, and it's right here, data science. Great. Now let's give me a report by membership status. Let's click that. So this is going to generate a report showing how many members are active, expired, or unknown. So since we updated John, and he was expired and now he's renewed, now we have 2 active members. However, let's try removing John. So let's say we remove add John.example. Okay, send it. So this removes one member from the system. This requires a specific email or ID instead of allowing the bulk details of giving everything to delete them, which prevents this data loss. So see, we have removed successfully. Let's check our Google Sheets, our storage, and he is gone. We only have our first one, Alice Chen. So let's check our test cases as well. Let's pull up cancel terminal, and let's run it again. We have our 52 cases passed, and we can see it right there. So the whole point is that the project includes this automate tested. This test covers the engine, interface, and web APIs, and also the storage behavior. They include successful cases, missing fields, duplicate members, static checks, renewal logic, and even the update behavior and the storage edge cases. But basically, my whole project, Club Membership System, is demonstrating how modular architecture of having these layers of the engine, the storage, and the interface, and how natural language interactions between the actual user and our engine and whole system validates rules, membership expiration dates, renewal logic, persistent Google Sheet storage using a GUI through webbing, and automatic testing. But yes, this is how the code is all working together and how my project works. I believe that this is something I can use in the real world, and something that I would definitely keep updating for future reference for my club at SHIP. And thank you for listening to my demo.